got a question for you. Is this perhaps the worst Earth to live on ever? Not the one we're currently on, but the Marvel version.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to live there. It seems like if you're a regular human, it's just existential dread, like every single day of your life.
Yeah. I think I'd be down to be like a shield agent, an agent of shield, if you will. Someone who knows at least a little bit what's going on. I don't want to just be in the park and then my bike falls over because something happens.
Hello, everyone. We're back. We've seen the latest Marvel movie, Eternals, directed by Chloe Zhao.
You put some respect on her name.
And written.
Academy Award winning.
Oh, I forgot. Since you guys are award-winning movie reviewers.
Yeah, we gotta make sure anyone who's won an award.
Exactly.
Boy, does it star a lot of
Everybody.
people. We got Gemma Chan, Richard Madden, Kumail Nanjiani, Lee McHugh, Brian Tyree Henry, Lauren Rudloff, Barry Keoghan, I can't say his last name, Don Lee, Harish Patel, Kit Harington, Salma Hayek, Angelina Jolie, Bill Skarsgård, David Kaye. I can't say the other ones. Because they're spoilers. The plot is actually, it starts off simple and then it just gets into just like super deep stuff. But basically, the Eternals are sent to Earth by Arishem, and he is like, you got to get rid of all the deviants and protect the Earth. And so that's what they think they're there for. It turns out they're there for a different reason. Having watched all of the Marvel movies and all the properties and have an understanding of what's happened in the comics, this movie is at both a great MCU movie, but also a weird MCU movie because it's trying to do something different while doing the same exact thing that it's always done. And it has two competing interests. It's like, we have to be funny and cute, but we also have to be existential and depressing and sad and emotive. And you can't have those two things because they clash too hard. There's a scene with Kingo where it's just like, you can't be funny. You can't be funny in this moment, guy. You just can't. And so there's a lot of that. And so the reviews online, I think they're going a little overboard. It's still a good movie, in my opinion. It's way better than Thor 2, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, for sure. And hey,
it definitely is.
I'll throw this out there. Better than Iron Man 3 too. So
yes, there are confusing elements to this movie. There are things that could have been cut to make it a cleaner runtime. But overall, I like the idea of where they're going with this because I think they're setting up the next big bad. Like, we know Kang is coming, but we also know that there's a larger threat now.
The first 30 minutes, I thought I was dead serious. I was considering like, this is the most boring comic book movie I've ever seen. It's like I will say it's probably the prettiest one. Like Chloe Zhao, and I don't know if it's the same cinematographer as Nomadland. It's not, but like she loves when they're silhouetted with like natural lighting. It looks beautiful. Shang-Chi is like so much freaking fun, and it's like a mystical kung fu movie. And then this one's like, let's talk about death and gods while we're like just walking in one place, and then cut to the next scene and they're just walking again, talking about existential dread. Insert fight scene. Next scene, they're just walking in a random place again. Every scene is like exposition where it's just they're just talking about what they're gonna do next. Hey, what's this person up to? And then they get like 15 minutes, and then okay, let's do it again. What's this character up to? And then they get 15 minutes, forget that they exist. It drove me nuts.
I think Zach's criticism and a lot of people's criticism, I think it's tied to that this is a gap filler movie.
Oh, and it feels it too.
It's like Halloween Kills. It's meant to set up a bunch of things, but at the same time, I think it has so many characters that it's like hard to comprehend because no one knows the Eternals. I don't know the Eternals.
Yeah.
So it's hard to wrap it around. It reminds me of John Carter of Mars a little bit. It's like they're introducing so much so quick that I think if they had flipped Falcon and the Winter Soldier, made that a movie and made this into a series, I think it would have been like way better.
Yeah, and I will agree. I think because I thought about this as I walked out. I was like, would this have been better as a series? Absolutely. Just give this thing like 8 hours of runtime. That would have been so great. Even Shang-Chi doesn't totally feel like an origin story first movie. It feels very much of like a piece of a puzzle. And this definitely feels like we're starting over. It's a whole new thing, kind of, while also with ties to something. Shang-Chi, a lot of it deals with the blip, and it deals with, these random little things like you got like Wong in there, like it feels connected, where this feels like we've started a puzzle over here, and now we have to like start the other side of it. You talk about John Carter. I watch this movie and I see that, but I also feel like it's a weird comparison, but like Dune just a few weeks ago, like and people were on board for that. We're saying, hey, join us on this journey. It's not always going to be action packed. It's not always going to be. Sometimes it's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of exposition. There's some funny moments too, but it's like, and then when it pops, it pops. And so I don't really get the huge hate. I understand it's not going to be for everyone. It's definitely not. It's not an Avengers movie. It does talk about existentialism and like what we love and that kind of stuff, and following orders and obedience. And you're just like, it's a lot. Everyone criticizes Marvel for being like, man, they just really surface level, and they're just joke, and now you have something that's a little different, and you're like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't care if this is 2.5 hours long. I'm like in it. I'm in it for the characters. I'm in it for what's gonna happen. Like I legit felt like this movie to me, it's like Dune and Suicide Squad from a few months ago, just crammed together. Kind of in the way that they're the turn of the story, but it's done better to me. And it's like, I don't know. I can't stop. I just can't stop thinking about this movie.
Did we watch the same movie?
I think so. I don't know. Were you in a different movie?
Oh my god! Whenever it was the scene in the desert, they go everywhere in this movie. I was thinking I would rather be watching Dune right now, and it's fascinating how, because Dune is basically the same movie. It's also existential, and it's like it's like really, what do they call it, heady sci-fi.
Yes, yeah.
Why does Dune work? And then this is just so dull to me. And I think it's like it's on like the filmmaking where everything is like super. It feels alien in Dune, and then this one it feels kind of familiar because it's a Marvel movie, and it's like it's like there's nothing too crazy.
I don't know. This is a movie for people who are like all in on Marvel. I think like they've watched the TV shows. This movie is not as weird as like Loki or WandaVision. Like we're asked to comprehend things that were like, yeah. I was just on board with Loki falling in love with himself like a few months ago, so I'm down with this. And that's what I'm saying. It's not bad if people don't like this. It's bad if people are just like hating on this movie for silly reasons.
It's not a terrible movie by any means. It's just not a good Marvel movie.
Well, I would disagree with that a little bit. I think it's a fine Marvel movie. One thing it does really well is it flips the narrative a little bit on its head, because you think certain people are going to act a certain way, and at the end, the people that you think are going to be the good ones are not the good ones. And the one that you definitely think is going to be the bad guy, Druig, turns out he's more complicated. This is what I like about it, is that it's a morally gray area. Yes. Most Marvel movies, it's like, this is the good guy, this is the bad guy. But this one's like, what if we're all just weirdos who are complicated humans? We're all human. Even these Eternals are human, and we make errors, and we have to forgive each other and learn how to grow as people. And that's the message of the movie. It's like in Nomadland, Chloe Zhao talked about how like people get forgotten and you got to find different families. This one's like, we're all family together. We have to figure out how this works. Yeah. We've all made mistakes. We all have to grow and become better people. Fastos is like the greatest example of this. He makes like a dumb, awful, horrible, like excruciating decision, and he lives with that pain for so long, and then he finally finds a family, and he's like, they accept him for who he is. And that's like a great story to tell people, is like, it's okay to make mistakes, just as long as you understand and grow as a person and don't make those mistakes again.
Like I think about Icarus, Richard Madden's character, and on the outside you can be like, that dude was like in the beginning, you're like, this dude is just stone. I don't like him. He's just not like he's just not. It comes off as like weird bad acting choices. But by the end of it, you're like, okay, like there's a reason for that. And I think and I think that it's a big ask of the audience to be like, hey, listen, this is going to be some weird stuff, some historic stuff, some goofy things that we're about to throw at you, but just stick with us till the end, and we promise it's gonna pay off a little bit.
All I'm gonna say is Blade, people.
Really, blades, if you think about it.
Well, you know, and then you throw Moon Knight, there's probably another Blade there. But I think the bigger story with the post-credit scenes and what the end of this movie with the Eternals being taken by Arishem.
Ends on a cliffhanger. Ends on a freaking cliffhanger, y'all. Like, that's ballsy for a Marvel movie, you know, after Infinity War, you know, of course.
So that means either A, we're getting some more Celestial stuff, or B, Arishem's sending Galactus to Earth because he has judged it and found it that it needs to be deleted from the universe. So there is a lot going on here in the movie that there's just a lot, and I'm excited for the future. But yeah, I think the movie could have just been a step better. How many spheres coming out of your throat out of 10 would you give this movie?
I'm glad I'm kind of in this like weird group of people who really just like love the heck out of this movie. And again, it's not perfect. It's flawed. But I'm gonna give this like an 8 out of 10. You know,
wow,
spheres out of my throat. I didn't expect to really like it this much. Like I think I went in lowering my expectations after seeing some of the reviews, and I think that was a good thing. I didn't come in so hot, and so it just gave me a chance to like really enjoy it, and kicks off with the Pink Floyd song. I mean, so it's like a whole 2 points in itself. Come on,
this movie.
That's like I hated it. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, this is the best part. Is because Zach is like, this is the worst Marvel movie I've ever seen. 8 out of 10.
It's not the worst Marvel movie. I will say that. I just don't know who this is for, and it's definitely not for me because I was bored. And again, it just doesn't commit to what it wants to like tone. It's just all over the place. I love Kumail Nanjiani, but he sticks out in this in a bad way because he's so kooky and funny. But we're talking about, you know, the world ending and blah blah blah. Anyways. He does shoot things out of his fingers, which is hilarious to me. Blah, blah, blah. 5.5 out of 10.
I would give this a 6 out of 10. I agree with Zach. The tonally, it's all over the place. But I love the reworking of Greek mythologies into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes. The two things I read as a kid was Greek mythology and Marvel stuff. So it's like right in my wheelhouse. I wanted Chloe Zhao to go more away from the MCU, but I understand Kevin Feige and them are like, look, we got this template and you somehow have to make it work. And so it just juxtaposed. It has a weird things, but I love the turns in the story. I love the acting. The tonally, it's wacky. Two things we didn't mention that I think we can all agree on. The Deviants needed more time.
Yes.
Or just been cut out and saved for another time. And two, Pip CGI was just awful.
Great voice though. I'm not gonna ruin it, but it's like I was so excited when I was more excited about that than the other thing. I'm not. It's not my thing. But you know what? Good for everyone else. So no one knows what we're talking about at this point unless you've seen the movie. So
I'm just gonna say watermelon tastes good.
Esercito di prodi